This video will describe how to specify the passage or passages that you want to translate. And there are three options. The first option is when you want to specify just a single passage. And to do that, you uncheck both of these boxes. And when you uncheck these boxes and then click on this text button, you'll see this dialog with a start verse and an end verse. Now you may want to translate, or you can say the entire Bible. And when you do that, if we clicked Generate Now, it would TBTA would translate the entire Bible for the current audience, whatever audience you happen to be in at the time. Another option, maybe you want to translate Genesis, let's say the first 10 chapters of Genesis. So now we'll translate from Genesis 1:1 to Genesis 10:32. So when you translate just one passage, it may be multiple books. We can say Genesis to Ruth. Now we'll translate one passage, Genesis 1:1 to Ruth 4:22. So when you want to translate one passage, you uncheck both of these boxes. And then TBTA will translate that passage in whatever the currently selected audience is. If you want to translate multiple passages, then you check this box, multiple texts. And now when you click the text button, you see a different dialog. We can specify multiple passages. For example, we can say Bible, and it will assume the entire Bible. And it will assume the first audience. If we say Insert in List Now, then it will translate the entire Bible for audience, the first audience. We can also say Bible. Let's say we want to translate just the book of Genesis. So we select Genesis 1:1. Now if we click on End Book up here, it will assume that this end book should be the same as the start book. So now it'll choose Genesis and it goes to the end of Genesis. Or if you want to translate just Genesis chapter 1, then you click on End Chapter and it will assume the end chapter should be the same as the start chapter. So now I click here, now it's Genesis 1:31. Or if you want to do just one verse, I'll click here and TBTA will know that the end verse should be the same as the start verse. So click here and now it's 1. Genesis 1:1 to Genesis 1:1. Insert in list. You can specify other passages, community development texts. We have several stories in here. Condi's story. Let's say just all of Condi's story. So now it's Condi's story 1:1 to Condi's story 5:11 for audience number 2. Insert in list. Another option, we can delete all of these by clicking that. Let's say you want to translate Genesis, Exodus, Joshua. You can just type the names up here, Judges, etc. Now when you type up here, it assumes the first audience. If you really want a different audience, then double click on it. It'll be copied up here. And now you can say audience number 4. Then say Insert in List. If later you decide you want to take your book out, double click here, uncheck the Include flag. Then check Insert in List. And now the Include is set to No. You can type other passages, Genesis 1 to 10. Genesis 10:1 to 11:12. There are examples you can copy over here. Genesis 15 to 20. You can do individual verses, Genesis 1:1, Genesis 1, 5 to 10, 1, 20 to 22, 12, 11 to 19, etc. And it will copy those for you. If you decide you want to delete one, okay, you can exclude it by double-clicking, unchecking the Include flag, and then Insert in List. If you decide you want to delete it, highlight that one and click the Delete key on your keyboard, and you can delete it. So that's how you specify multiple passages. The third option, the last one, is problem texts. Here, we call them problem texts. This means our grammar is having some problem with these particular verses. And now if we click the text button, we again see this dialog, but it's a separate set of verses. Now here you generally do either very short passages or individual verses. Genesis 1:1, 1:10, Genesis 2:15, Genesis 3:22, etc. You can also do them up here. Bible, Genesis, we'll say Genesis 5, Genesis 1:5, Genesis 1:5. So in here you put usually separate verses or small passages that are causing your grammar problem. And again, you can double click on one, you can edit it to 15 to 216. After you edit it, click the Insert in List button, and now it's 215 to 216. So that's how you specify your passages. You have three options. One passage that has a start verse and an end verse. It can be multiple books, but there's only one start verse and one end verse. And you uncheck these and specify the start verse and the end verse in here. Or multiple passages, you check this. Now you enter books, multiple books or passages into here. And then problem texts, and you again specify multiple verses that are causing problems in your grammar.